hello, everybody.
2018. Sorry.
Welcome to episode 92 of Discourse in Magic. It is 2018. We're recording this thing on January 1st, so we have basically 364 more days ahead of us.
Till the next one.
Until it's done. Until the year is done. So... Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you people at home.
Yeah.
Did you have a good New Year's?
I had a very nice New Year's.
Is
it was
magical?
filled with magicians, which was very nice. It was filled with some very nice new friends and old friends. And it was just a beautiful time. I had fun, a small little gathering in a house. I feel like I'm finally of a nice age where I can sit in a house with some people, have some drinks, eat some hors d'oeuvres.
You finally opened the champagne, I see.
We bought that one. We still
you
didn't
still
open that
have
one.
the moving in
We
champagne.
put that one in the fridge, and then we took it out of the fridge and put it back over there because we're like, not celebrating. Only finished one. So it was a very nice New Year's, and as I was saying, it felt nice and grown up. Yeah. You know, that I feel like that's a big leapfrog for me. How about you? How was your New Year's?
It was great. It was not very magical in the sense that I didn't do magic and I didn't hang out with magicians. It was a lovely break. I wasn't asked to do a card trick, which was
very nice.
It was nice. It's nice to go to a party and have not a single person be like, "Hey, can you come over here?" And it's not like I have a problem with performing. It's just sometimes I'm just drinking with my friends.
I know my high school friends don't listen to this, so I'm so happy to say that, I'm happy to be able to say this because, they're not listening, but last month I went to, 2 high school parties and, not with high school kids, with
your friends from high school,
Just wanted to clarify, okay?
Yeah. You hang out with high schoolers.
No, I don't. And
I was confused.
They had so little to talk to me about me aside from magic. And, I know all I do is magic, but everyone's just like... So, show me a trick. And I'm like, I'm a person! And it's just crazy that, I guess that's a part of the archetype of what I am. And, obviously part of it is on me to be more interesting, but I just couldn't believe that I was asking all of them about their lives and interesting things and everything, and they were all asking me about trick. That, I feel like, and maybe other people feel the same way for their jobs, but I feel like I answer the same 10 questions from all people...
Forever.
All the time.
Forever and ever. They're either you hear the same jokes and you answer the same genuine questions. You hear the same joking, stupid, can you make my wife disappear nonsense? And then you hear the same, how did you get into it? Do you make enough money? No. It's all the same over and over. And what bothers me is that I have gone out to a party and been like, tonight, no magic. Tonight, I'm not going to do a trick. And I'm not going to talk about it. And then in 15 minutes, I'm talking to a stranger about magic because that's just where my brain goes.
It's also what I do.
It's what I do, right? They're like, what do you do for a living? And it's like, oh, card tricks. And they're like, that is the coolest thing I've ever heard, or not.
Or they don't like it.
Or they don't like it. But sometimes they're like, holy shit, tell me how to make a living doing card tricks. You know what I mean? That's a... big thing.
So it's always nice to have a break from it, and it's also important a little PSA of our own that being well-rounded isn't only good so that you can add well-roundedness back to your magic, but it's also good to be well-rounded so that there's more to you.
Yeah, and you had a nice adult New Year's, and I've
very nice. There was no magic.
Yeah.
It was so nice. There was magicians, but no magic.
That's nice. I had the opposite of an adult New Year's.
Right.
I have had very adult holidays.
You partied as if you were in high school.
Yeah, my friend's parents went away for the weekend, so he had everyone over, and we slept on the couches and just got drunk and played drinking games on our smartphones and music, and it was a good time. It was a really, really fun New Year. So thank you to the Bachnicks for letting me party in your house, as always.
Hopefully they don't listen to this and know that we trashed it.
Yeah, we trashed it. I was doing cocaine, hookers, and illegal things, but not really. And no underage drinking. It just felt like it because we were hiding from mommy and daddy,
That's
which
right.
was cool.
So that was the New Year's. And again, we hope that you all had a very nice New Year's.
And if you didn't, you better luck next year.
There's always next year. There's always 64 days. Or when you listen to this, even less.
Chinese New Year's in February.
So anyway, our Jewish New Year comes sooner.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I was very excited to bring up, which I do want to give a shout out to someone, but the thing I was going to bring up is I'll explain who it is in a sec.
But there's nobody for me to do it, so I can't.
No. Last New Year's, we came up with I don't remember what the crap we call it, the Discourse in Magic New Year's resolution, your Magic New Year's resolution or some crap.
Yeah.
And we both came up with New Year's Magic resolution, and
I nailed mine.
We challenged. Do you remember what it was?
No.
Okay, cool.
But I nailed it.
We challenged people to come up with a New Year's Magic resolution. As if we forget that it's so unanimous that people fail at their New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, it's like, what do you not want to succeed at this year?
Exactly, it's a trope.
Yeah.
So, but I will say that I semi-succeeded at mine. Mine was to script more, and all the magic that I do right now in my show is scripted. The one trick that I'm working in right now, which I'm very happy about this new trick, I am playing with the scripting, as well as, for those of you mega fans, so you know, coming soon, there's going to be a scripting challenge, which is kind of like the Masterpiece Challenge, to help you guys script your own magic better. So I've definitely made a dent in the scripting challenge. Do you legitimately not remember what yours was?
I legitimately thought mine was scripting.
No,
like when
mine.
I sent that and you're like, no, that was mine. I was like, I knew that it was yours, but I also wholeheartedly believe that it was mine.
I don't know that it was
I feel
yours.
like maybe it was to tell more people I'm a magician.
You know what?
Or to perform more. Like, we do have the podcast.
I'm going to look it up. Right
Yeah, it's
now.
probably written down.
This is going to be so embarrassing. So the person that I wanted to shout out while I look up what your New Year's Magic resolution is, I hope I wrote it down, but the person that I want to shout out is Mike Vandersanden. That is a fan of the podcast whose name we haven't mentioned in a little while, but we used to mention quite often when he was our one and only fan. But to Mike Vandersanden, he left another comment on his New Year's Magic resolution video, and which he posted. I think he was one of the only people to post that on Instagram. He posted a little video with his New Year's Magic
I saw it on
resolution.
Facebook, I think, too.
And so he shared that his magic resolution was to perform more. And not only am I super proud of him that he has been performing more from little random videos that I saw, but also he got his first gig, and he's now started doing some gigs. So I think that is very exciting. So big shout out to you, Mike Vandersanden, for most importantly remembering. I, for one, cannot find this New Year's Magic resolution.
So here's some other things about Mike Vandersanden while we...
I don't have any other things about Mike Vandersanden.
Well, January 12th... Well,
this should be it, but it's not here. No, this is with someone
Did we do
else.
friend, fans, and followers month introduction?
I checked, but it's not in there.
I honestly think that mine was to perform more. I really do.
I buy that.
I fully think that's what it was, and I have been performing.
Yeah, you
a lot
perform a
more.
ton. So if your magic resolution was to perform more,
Or maybe to get a restaurant, which I never did.
yeah, someone actually recently asked me about our lack of getting restaurant gigs, and I was like, I mean, here's me talking about it. I didn't say what mine is.
Wow, we're bad at social media.
No, well, back in the day we were bad. Now we're good. But anyways, I'm not watching this.
Wasn't a single thumbnail that you hovered over where your mouth wasn't wide open.
I know.
You're just yelling the entire
I hate the way I
resolution.
look in videos. And that beautiful sweater that I'm wearing, I washed, and then it leaked into itself, and now it's gone.
Now it's a tie-dye.
So yeah, maybe we'll find our resolutions. But really, in general,
Do you have one for this year? Magic?
Caught me off guard there. Let me pull out the note.
Oh,
no,
no.
I'm kidding.
For real, though, I am taking notes.
I would say this year, I don't have one that was in the back of my head, but I'll put one together right now. I would say this year, I'm most excited. My New Year's Magic resolution is to have a full show that which I am proud of.
Okay.
I know that's like crazy right now. There's a few tricks that I'm doing that I'm proud of. One that I'm like proudish of. One that is like making its way into my repertoire, which I'm so happy about, the originality and the creativity and things like that. And I just think that I'll be able to do it another 3 or 4 months, but because I'll need to have it for the summer, but I could reckon me doing more like full shows where I'm not proud of the whole thing. Now, when I have to do a full show, I'm proud of like 60% of it. And I'd like to be able to feel very confident in all of the pieces of maybe that's a crazy thought, because like the plight of the artist is to hate
yourself and all that. Going out on stage will always be nerve-wracking, no matter how confident you are. I'll never leave
and be like, it was all perfect.
Yeah.
So maybe that's crazy, but I guess that's what it is for me, is to have the old full shows I had. I was like,
you know what I'm like when I think I did really good on stage? I never walk off and be like, that went great. That's when I ask, how did I do? You know what I mean? That's when I come in and I'm like, when I'm like jazzed about it, I'm like, so how'd you think that was? And I'm just like waiting to be torn apart. You know what I mean?
If you think you did really well, bad news.
Bad news.
Bad news. No, I'm kidding. And what about you? What's your next year New Year's resolution?
I want to do 1 hour show. I want to do a 1 hour show. I want to have one. I don't need to do it on stage, but I want to have one finished and have the pieces ready to go. I don't need to be proud of it. That's not... I just need to fucking do it at this point. Just have 6 tricks that somewhat flow together and a purpose to it. And I want to craft something actually written out and storyboarded and designed.
That's a beautiful idea.
For real. And I think a year is enough time.
I think it's plenty.
I maybe could do it in a day, but I'm giving myself the year.
Especially if you don't need to be proud of it.
Yeah, if I don't need to be proud of it, a year is plenty of time. I also want to perform more original magic. I have been creating a lot more magic in my spare time at home. I have seasonal effectiveness disorder, like to the max. Like I can barely walk some days because my knees are just gone, and it's all just the sunlight and cold. And I hate winter. I hate it. I don't know why I live here. But I've been spending a lot of time indoors with a deck of cards and really enjoying that. So I want to actually try to implement that and see what it looks like in the real world, because I've been doing a lot of crotch magic, which I just don't want to upload because it's, crotch magic.
That's
so
right.
There you go.
And to you guys at home, what is your New Year's magic resolution? I would love for you to leave a comment on wherever it'll be, likely on Instagram or something, but let us know what is your New Year's magic resolution. And even if you're a chicken shit and don't want to comment it, definitely just think about it. Didn't mean to call you chicken shit there, but I'm just saying, a lot of you don't comment when you should comment, and it's hard to write stuff down.
We know you won't.
So at least just think to yourself, what is your New Year's resolution? Actually, it's so funny that you say that. I wanted to make a real separation, because I've had 2 people now introduce themselves to me as like those old guys that we're making fun of on the podcast all the time. And, part of me was like, that's so funny. And the other part of me was like, I don't want you to identify with that.
Yeah.
So here, let me just explain it, where I can insult a small section of you, but ideally it's not you, which is that your age does not matter. What does matter is
your race.
No.
Okay.
the non-updating of your thinking. That's it. So when I talk about the old people of magic, I'm sort of
it's the people that make the racial comments.
Yeah. Or just
do you hate online magic, or you're into magic clubs, or you're like...
I mean, I have no problem with magic clubs.
Fuck.
No, I have no problem with magic clubs.
I thought you hated them.
I do not hate magic clubs.
Did you apologize to that person?
Yes, someone was very not happy about the going-ons in Xavier's episode, but it was more that I didn't stop him. Not that I said anything, but that I didn't defend magic clubs
reel that one in
to the death. And again, I love magic clubs, not a problem with it. But people that say fuck learning magic online. You have to do it in person at a magic club. That's old thinking.
Don't waste your time learning that trick. You need to learn 77 card tricks.
Exactly.
First.
When people say you have to study this. It's the when people are you have to learn the pass. It's the basics.
Yeah. You don't need the pass.
Shut it. You don't need to learn it. So again, when I'm calling you old thinkers is what I want to say. When I'm calling you old thinkers, really mean names. Your age has nothing to do with it. It has only to do with your unupdated style of thinking. So
fashion, you geezers.
Ideally, you're listening to this and you're like, phew, that's not me. But some of you undoubtedly are listening to this and going,
almost all of my magic idols
he thinks that I'm a shithead.
Are older than me, so it has nothing to do with that. It's pretty much, it's straight up just if you think magic is for me, the biggest distinction, and when I talk about the old heads, is they think magic is a private.
old head.
Yeah, they think magic is a private social club that you have to earn your way to get into, and not an art form for us to share. And that's I don't know. We love you all. We love you all. We want you to keep listening. We're not trying to insult you on a personal level. It's just we don't structure our thoughts well. We should write our ideas down.
Screw that. It's a podcast, not a blog.
Blogcast. Let's do it.
So definitely want to share that.
What was your? Yeah, there was. I don't know that we're gonna do it again. There's nothing really for this month, is there? But
you're about to ask me
what you did for your Christmas.
That question. So I personally did not come up with Christmas magic, but I know I've just been failing month over month. But I did want to shout out to RJ, who did some very fun Christmas-esque things. I wanted to shout out to Christian, who did some really cool things. And I wanted to shout out to, and this was a trick that I wanted to do, even though it's not mine. I was going to do it at a Hanukkah party, but I didn't end up doing it. But it was a trick from The Jerks as part of his Jam. That's his monthly magazine, which is done this month. This is the last month of it. And I'm sure you can buy them online or something. I don't know what he's doing, but he had a fantastic Christmas trick, which was beautiful. So I didn't come up with one, but I did want to give a shout out. If you're looking for something to access online, get the December Jam. I don't remember what the Jam stands for, but it's on The Jerks. And buy the December one, or buy them all, but buy the December one, and you will love that Christmas trick. So I didn't come up with anything. Everything that I came up with that was Christmas. I mean, I just didn't have a venue to want to perform it in. You know, I don't have Christmas parties. I'm a Jewy Juju. Yeah. And like, I didn't come up with anything for newest trick that was Christmas themed. So I didn't. What about you?
I did a Christmas thing at Newest Trick. I basically had someone visualize a gift card to a location, and then I gave them an empty box to keep in their seat. And then I did French kiss, but under a mistletoe. So the idea was, even though we didn't actually physically touch each other at all, the Christmas magic is what made the cards switch places. And there's a great comedy moment where the person realized they were standing under a mistletoe, and I was like, got him, and all this fun stuff. And then after the cards switch places, the thought of the gift card to the store that they thought of appeared in the box, which was at their seat. And it was, fun little Christmas mentalism, trick. Impossible card switch transpo routine.
I failed again.
That's 1-0. I think
we both failed the first one.
Yeah, we both failed the first two.
Right. No, it was just one.
No, mustache and Halloween.
Did we come up with Halloween?
We didn't. Oh, I did the candy safety, drinking Windex, cookie cutter.
Did I do anything Halloween? No, but that was in retrospect. We talked about that. Like, that wasn't... We didn't choose to come up with that on the podcast.
God, I think we did.
Whatever, 1-0.
Yeah,
let's just
call it
at
a 1-0 for now.
What is the January challenge that I'm going to fail?
Jam.
Well, what's in January? Jamboree.
Jamboree.
So what's in January? New Year's is, but I feel like we missed the boat on that. Yeah. Snow, depending on where you live.
February comes next.
Valentine's Day. I guess, do we want to do that so that we're set up for
Valentine's Day?
So we don't do the trick. We have to... I mean, I have no dates, so I'm going to do it for myself.
You'll get one.
That's the trick. Yeah, well, if I can do that trick, then I'm fine.
Then why am I here? Why do I have a podcast?
I definitely don't have a magic podcast to get women.
Yeah.
That's for sure not the case. No, should we save the Feb for Feb, or no? You want to do it before?
Yeah, save the Feb for Feb. We got...
So January, let's say winter.
Winter? Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
A winter-themed magic trick. There's so many options. You can pee in the snow.
What about if we do, I guess, we've already set our magic resolutions, but what if we do, like a self-improvement, like new beginning You know what I mean? Like,
what is this, a freaking self? No, I'm kidding. What are you talking about?
Like, it's the new year, so think just new.
New year, new me.
Yeah, new year,
like
new memes.
Reborn, like rebirth.
Yeah, like torn and restored card.
That's
like,
right. That's where I was going. I had
card and Bill Toolaman.
New. So the theme is something new.
Yeah.
Something that we're getting married.
It's a new
something
dawn.
Blue and something.
It's a new day.
A new dawn, new day, new magic trick. So there you go.
Feeling cold.
Big, huge announcement. Remember at the beginning of November, 2 of these ago, when I was like, hashtag discourse at 1,000, the worst hashtag in the entire world, that literally nobody hashtagged but me twice until I stopped using it completely. Do you remember that?
I actually do, but forgot that the hashtag existed.
I'm literally looking it up just to make sure that nobody cared. Discourse at 1,000, 6 posts.
All you.
All me. I'm just checking that none of these are Oh yeah, one Graham Booyah from Craig Hollingsworth, who I met, who's a very nice guy. Oh, and Run from RJ.
Bruh.
Is this really?
RJ Steele.
Yeah, RJ it was for a Toronto Magic Company post, but he just put it in there, and I'm really, really proud of him for doing that. So not entirely me, for me, to other people, but we officially, legally, legitimately crossed 1,000 followers on Instagram.
What?
Which is both really small and
huge for
really
us.
big, right?
Huge
like
for us.
small because
we need
like
to 10 times that.
Bingo. And then we can get that swipe up.
Yeah.
Shit. Swipe up for the episode. I'm dreaming of that. So number 1, help us get that swipe up. Our next Instagram goal is 10K.
Just make accounts all day.
Make an account, follow us. Make an account, follow us. That's number 1. Number 2, I know it's like seems so small, but basically we're at like 92 episodes. So it's a little bit more than 10 followers an episode, which is huge. And like really not, because we only started banging out the cool graphics like 15-20 episodes ago, which means that it's picking up fast, because the Discourse at 1,000 was only like 1 or 2 months into these really cool graphics. So
right.
If you don't know what I'm talking about when I say really cool graphics, go follow at Discourse and Magic on Instagram. And I want to give you guys a big, huge thank you for helping us reach 1,000, 4 digits. And here's
3 zeros.
Here's to 10K.
I thought you were gonna go, and here's to Tyler, and I was like, you're just passing me the floor.
No. Here's to
also
10K.
Thank you. I don't know what to say.
Here's to 10K. So that's big stuff.
Yeah.
And just how about this? I get about 1 message every other day asking me. Do you know what I'm about to say?
No.
Asking me if Xavier's episode got more downloads than David Malik's episode. Let me just once and for all say, no, not even close. It was a good try.
You're not getting free
probably
shit.
Not going to happen. Trust me, I will let you know if it tops it, but it is absolutely not going to happen. So, I mean, no negative thoughts there, but just like I see how fast they grow, and like,
look, this is going to be a magic trick if it happens. Like, because the thing about David Malik is that he's not slowing down drastically, right? Like, people are still listening to that. It feels like more people listen to it since the Xavier Spade episode than Xavier Spade's
I will say
episode.
A lot of people have messaged me to say that they got into the podcast because of that episode. So
I don't know where he's hosting it, but there's some website where he's like shared the link that just has traffic.
He shared a link that they're watching it and it's not us. No, I don't think so. I think everyone's coming to our thing, and but it's just not that many people. So I mean, big numbers on it, but just not as big as David Malik. So there's my once and for all. I'll let you know if
believe me, we will be bothering Xavier about it when it happens.
Yeah, so I got 2 recent... He actually messaged me this morning about it. I was like, no. I got 2 recent questions that were emailed, although I'm not going to mention their names because I don't think they know that I'm going to ask this question to the world. One guy who was like, I love listening to your podcast. You know how you say leave your pinky on the deck? Well, I love listening to your podcast while I drive, and that's where I leave my pinky on the deck. And I'm like... What? Why are you driving with cards in your hand? He's like, oh no, I only do the one-handed moves. I'm like, That's still
Yeah.
Put the deck down.
I don't know what
like
it is.
Seinfeld.
There's some video of I think it's Daniel Garcia's in the car or something. But anyway, Paul Harris is like on the way to a lecture and he's driving a rental car, stacking the cards in his hands and driving with his knees.
Oh yeah,
and they're like,
wow.
"Are you stacking cards while driving?" And he's like, "Yep." They're like, "Isn't that a little dangerous?" And he says, "Only if they shuffle." But it's just, I just thought that was a great line. Anyway, we have a question. Or you just wanted to share?
No, I was just looking
safety,
through because I
driving
thought we had a
safety.
question there, but we do definitely have a question. I just have to really quickly find it. But one of the questions was very interesting, which was, and this keeps happening, but people say that they don't have magic books in their country because there aren't magic stores. So where should they start? And I was like, videos or order books online. And I guess in some countries, ordering stuff online really sucks.
No go. Some places don't have YouTube.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like China has a huge magic market there.
Yeah.
But like they don't have the same social media stuff that we have, right?
Yeah.
So like all those companies, it's very different, right?
Crazy. Okay, so what would you recommend a newcomer to do if they are, and I don't mean to say this negatively, but I'll say it sort of coyly, literally living in another world, you know, like, because I mean it, like they don't have everything that we have, like you can't, so if someone was living in another world, like they just said, what is magic? I'm here. There's no stores. I have access to some of the internet.
Yeah.
Where would you point them?
Canada. I guess in terms of, I would say online is obviously going to be your best resource, or finding a community of magicians in your community. But if you live in nowhere, you're alone, and all you have is the internet. If you don't have the internet, I can't help you. I'm a millennial. I can't live without it. I'm just useless. But there's a lot of YouTube channels that are dedicated to teaching magic properly, right? Like I think Jay Sankey does a great job of giving out a ton of free awesome material, and he educates you on how to use it properly and why certain things work. Chris Ramsey, though his stuff is more like, he does do tutorials, but there's a lot more vlogs and things like that. He sort of brings you into what it is to be a magician, so to speak, and really talks about the community in a sometimes negative light, but I think for a positive reason.
It's also illuminating.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I think connecting with online personalities like YouTubers and things, and not idolizing them and like wanting to be exactly them, but just sort of diving into their world because they're so here and so present in what's going on in magic, and you don't have those opportunities. You can sort of piggyback on their life through their vlogs and whatnot.
For sure. So I would agree with that. I would also just say the obvious of check out Illusionist, Theory 11, Vanishing Ink, Murphy's.
Not Penguin.
Murphy's Magic.
Don't go to
you can
Penguin.
check out Penguin.
No, did you see the Rosemary thing? No Penguin anymore. We're boycotting Penguin.
I did. But anyways, like,
no Penguin.
I'm sure all the, I don't want to, whatever. Like, you can go check out online magic retailers. Like, I mean, I'm not going to bash an entire company because of some line that one person at one member of the company said.
There's better ones. Go to
But you understand what I'm saying, right? Like, I'm not going to badmouth an entire company because what one person who works there says.
Yeah.
And he was apologetic, and I mean, obviously he shouldn't have said it, but just go check out online magic retailers. That's the direction that I would recommend for that sort of thing. Just to refresh any of you, if you didn't listen to the last episode, when like 5 years ago or something, I wrote down a list of questions that were giving me anxiety in magic. I could not puzzle my way through them because I was really struggling with the philosophy of some of the things in my magic. So I wrote them all down, and we're going through them basically. So last month, we went through a chunk of them, and now there's about 4 or 5 more that I'm super interested to dive into. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
And again, I literally have not even read these since for a long time. So I don't have a head start. So this says, does making a plot or purpose to magic add value to the effect or distract from the effect? Why would one happen and not the other? So I'll say that again. Does making a plot or purpose for the magic trick add to the effect or detract from the effect? Why one and not the other? Why would it happen? So I'll tell you how that came about, and then I'll tell you some of the inquisitive difficulties I have with it. So how it came about was when I first started doing any card at any number. My question was, is it cooler for me to just set a deck of cards down on the table and say, you will name a card and you will name a number, and that card is at that number? No presentation, no story, no purpose, but an impossible feat. Or to give it context in some way and talk about it. And I didn't know if giving it all this context and interesting backstory or purpose or whatever would detract from that simple miracle. And that was what I struggled with. And the other thing that I use to play with this is a coin in your hand. Like, I don't know that if I could put a coin in my hand, close my hand, and then open it, and it was gone, I don't know that saying words would make that any better. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
no,
what
I
are your
understand the
thoughts?
question. Okay. It's kind of a hard answer to generalize, but I think the key thing to look at here is your intent. And that's always going to be my answer to these questions. Is like, that's sort of what I've realized is like, your intent will change based on your effect to effect and what you want. So having a purpose or a plot point, so to speak, to your effect will have a different impact on your audience than the effect not having that. I don't know that it's going to be better or worse. I think that it will just be different. So if you are setting out to baffle your audience, just have them absolutely have no idea how what happened just happened, I think a bare bones effect is the most direct way, where you say, this is what's going to happen, then it happens, and they don't understand. If they want to come out to be entertained and feel more emotion and less, how did he do that? Then you can take them on a journey of a story and a purpose and a plot. And it will probably make it less fooling, but maybe more magical. So they might not be like, they might think to themselves, oh, he could have done a card switch, or he could have done this, instead of them being like, no, it was so fair. I watched, it was so fair. They might not pay attention to the little details, but if that's not important to you, then,
yeah, you know. I mean, I feel kind of similar about it, which is that I think that it might be more impossible in certain worlds to do magic without the presentation. You know what I mean? Like, really, without the presentation. I know you can say, like, no presentation is a presentation, but let's just, without the presentation, I think that it might be more impossible. Making something more impossible, like, mathematically,
like rigorously impossible,
doesn't make a trick better. For example, if I do any card any number with 30 cards or any card any number with 52 cards, I don't think, or let's just say 26 cards and 52 cards, I don't think the 52 cards is twice as good of it as a trick.
Right.
Even though it is by definition twice as impossible.
Yeah.
So I think that, and it's hard. I mean, I like to use that example, like, because that's a metric that I can say is twice as impossible. But, like, let's say I find your card in the deck, or I find your card in the deck twice.
Twice is unlikely.
It's
possible.
More, no, but what I mean to say is, like,
more magical.
Find your card twice is twice as impossible. But I don't think it's a better trick. Right. I don't think that it's a more captivating trick. I don't think it's more entertaining. I don't think that it's more enchanting. I don't think that it's more valuable, memorable.
I also think that, like, with your whole doing it twice thing, I think that it also kind of takes away from it. Because, and the reason why is because once it happens once,
it's possible. It's like that helium thing. Yeah.
So,
and I agree with that, but I just wanted to... So originally when I wrote this, I was very much struggling between whether I should add things to my effect, add presentations, add stories. Now I'm 100% in the camp of make it relevant, add stories, add information, add value, make it fun, make it interesting, make it enchanting. You want people to be swept off their feet by the magic, let them be in it, and I think that magicians value the idea of something being really impossible more than spectators do. It's not going to be that memorable it's not necessarily going to be more memorable for a spectator if it's numerically more impossible, like mathematically more impossible, but rather if you have put tools on it to help connect with them.
All right.
So that is that question. Okay. Which leads into this one. Very, very interesting. This says, are all impossible things equally as impossible? Why are some more than others?
They're not. By definition, they're not.
So you're saying impossible is...
As impossible does.
You're saying with one something's impossible, it cannot be more impossible.
Yes.
So if
improbable...
No, but never mind that. If I vanish a coin or if I vanish a car, are those both the same amount of impossible?
Yes. By definition, yes.
But let's pretend that we're not talking about factory debt. But let's talk about...
But that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to get there. I think that the difficulty in which... The amount of difficulty required to create the illusion, and that's in the spectator's head, what they think the amount of difficulty is. They think it is harder to vanish a car than it is to vanish a coin. Right? It's not more impossible. They just genuinely don't believe that the coin really vanished. You know what I mean?
And they could have fallen.
It could have fallen. Dissolvable coins, poles, magnets, all the things, right? But when it's a big car, they actually have no idea, right, where that big object could have gone. The coin could have gone fucking anywhere. But as far as they're convinced, they're like, I'm pretty sure. But if you were to ask anybody, can something be more impossible than the other? I don't think that's a subjective question. Do I think that certain feats are more magical? Right?
No, but I think I mean I don't want to say that we're playing like the words or semantics here, but I'm saying that I think that if you think that vanishing a car is more impossible than vanishing a coin, then things can be more impossible than others. I understand that the word impossible already means not possible, but I don't think that discounts that there could be levels of impossibility.
No, I don't think it has, but that's the thing. It's impressiveness, not impossibility.
I don't know. I don't know that. I think that there's levels of impossibility, and that's not impressiveness. I think that some things could be more impossible than other things.
Give me one example.
The car and the coin. That's a perfect example. I think it's more impossible to vanish a car than it is to vanish a coin. They're both impossible, but I think it's more impossible.
No, because if you can do one, then it's clearly possible. Right? That's the reason why. Right? That's the reason why. It's because what you're seeing, what the impossible thing is being made possible because it's happening in front of your face.
Right.
Right? So that's why when you see something that's very, very difficult, something using the idea of degrees of impossibility, something that's very impossible happen, then yes, that is more magical. And the way I was phrasing it is impressive. Right?
But why is it not more impossible?
Because that doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. My brain can't put those words beside each other. Saying something's more impossible is being it's like saying a completely unique object is more unique than another unique object. They're both just unique.
I get what you're saying, but I still think that something could be unique and something else could be, I mean, it's not proper grammar, but something else could be wildly, something could be much more.
It's not more unique. It's more varied, right? There'd be more differences, but that doesn't make it more unique. They're both just objectively unique, which is why I'm saying impressiveness and improbable, right?
I guess, but
impossible is just impossible to me.
I think
that's like saying something is more infinite than another infinite.
But there are different types of infinities.
No, there's different sizes of infinities, but they're not different like the concept itself is still infinity. They're both, you know what I mean? Like certain infinities exist within infinities and stuff like that. Like I understand that, but I'm saying they are still the same concept. Like it's not more infinite, it's bigger, right? Like
I know, but I think that
between 1 and infinity is not less infinite than the space between 0 and 1, right?
Okay, I see that. Like I understand that,
It's
but
just
again,
smaller.
that doesn't change my thought on things being more impossible. Like I think that impossible, like different things could be different amounts of impossible.
Why?
Why not? If something is like I mean, they're both impossible, but something is even more impossible for me to fathom it happening. Like,
see, but I also think you're thinking of like impossible right now, right? Like, or like going to Mars is right now impossible for humans to do. It is possible, but like incredibly difficult. Going to another solar system is impossible, right? Going to another universe is impossible.
but could you see?
But I that's why I'm trying to scale it up. I'm using your logic.
Yeah.
Right? But all those things are technically achievable, just very difficult. There's theories, you know what I mean? Like, so I think they're all impossible, but it is easier to go to Mars. It's easier to go to another solar system.
And I would argue that going to another like galaxy is more impossible than going to another solar system.
No, it's just harder. It's just more difficult to achieve.
Okay, I mean, I think we're on the same thing. I don't think we're gonna disagree, but let us know what you think and things be more impossible. And the second half of the question was,
I feel like we're just in the is water wet argument, and like
yeah, and like
yes, some magic is more impressive than others, and
that's what I'm saying. Like it's just semantics. Like to me, like,
are you comfortable saying impressiveness is equal to impossibility?
Yeah,
or
like
vice versa?
I don't need to argue that point. It was just about, can something be more, not really semantically, but like is something more impossible? And on that note, like, and that was the second half of the question, what makes something more impossible? So like
difficulty. Like the amount of secrecy that would have to be involved. Like if you have some idea where the coin went,
but what if there's no idea? Like let's say I vanish a table versus vanishing a train. Like they're both, the coin thing, I feel what you're saying is like
it's harder to vanish a train. Tables are small. Because tables
vanish either.
No, but yeah, tables are lighter weight. They're easier to construct and take apart. There's less of it to make. There's literally, it's physically, there's physically less of it.
There's possible solutions. I see what you're saying.
No, but even if there's no possible solution, there's less material to vanish straight up. Right? There's less material.
But do you see my struggle with them being like why saying that it's harder is a problem? Because someone would both times say I have nothing. They like a non-magician has no measure of difficulty of it.
Right, but it's kind of like saying I have no idea how you did that. It's like, okay, if you looked at me and you opened up your hand and you closed it, and then you opened up your hand and there was a coin, and I was like, I have nothing. And then I went to another magician and he made me fly around the world like Superman. Like, you both did impossible things. They are the same on the level of impossibility in my eyes. In terms of impressiveness and difficulty, they're not. And for the vanishing, it's straight up the amount. Like, it is harder to blow up a bridge than it is to blow up a house. It requires more.
I know, but those are using tools in which you know.
But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, even if you didn't know how things were built or destroyed or whatever, right? You would know personally that it's harder to build a home. If you don't know how homes were made, you know it's harder to make a home than it was a skyscraper.
On another level, and I don't know. I don't know about that. But on another, because I struggle with the thought of, if you don't know how a table's vanished, it's not necessarily more difficult to have an airplane vanish.
That's not what I'm saying. It is.
No, I'm saying the opposite.
Oh, you think that it's the same?
Well, I'm saying that it's very hard for me to categorize it by saying that, like, it's more difficult, because I think that they should both, by definition, have no solutions to how that could be possible.
It doesn't matter. Moving a train is harder than moving a table.
Okay, so anyways, that's what
Even
I'm saying.
If you're
like,
just pushing with your hands.
We're not going to like go any further on this because like I'm struggling with using the measurement of harder,
but not the measurement of impossibility. You're saying it is more impossible, but you don't know why. It's not about because of difficulty.
Yeah, I'm struggling with why, because the difficulty doesn't really resonate with me because like so here's another
Would you be more impressed if I could teleport to that side of the room or to China?
China.
And you have no idea why, is what you're trying to say right now.
I mean, like, yeah, like, because
the distance is further. Like, yeah, that's further. It. It's just bigger. That's it. That's
okay,
that's the whole thing.
So then the
scale.
question is it just scale? Can we, like, is that why David Copperfield does big, huge things? And are we only limited in our impossibility to do things to just scale up to make things more impossible in our lives?
Well, okay. I would say yes and I would say no, because you're comparing vanishes to vanishes, and
that's coming next,
right?
But let's start with vanishes to vanishes. Like
vanishes to vanishes.
I'm limited by scale.
You're limited by scale and stricter conditioning, right? Like if you want to make a coin disappear, you can make it more fair by not closing your hand. You can make it more fair by not waving your hand over it. Like there are things you can change about the effect itself to make it more fair and therefore more impossible without scaling up or down. But once you're at the most fair anything could possibly fucking be, I guess if you're talking vanishes, then yes, the only thing to do was to go bigger and more open.
Right.
But
the next question is that.
Apples to oranges, right? If we're using standard deviations for the impossibility, right?
So
like
is a vanish more or less impressive than a restoration?
Yeah, or mind reading, or
right. So like, how do we understand those things?
Yeah, exactly.
I have
nothing, zero. I'm so at a loss. I don't know why I do what I do. Like, Torn and Restored to me is freaking magic. Like, it's crazy magic. And to some people, it's like, he probably has some sticky shit. Like, I don't know. Like, they don't care.
I don't know. Maybe it's not as impressive as I think it is.
Right? Because, like, I know there's no sticky shit. And I'm just like, how are the cards going together? And I know, you know what I mean? And there's certain things that are magician foolers. Right? And they're very impressive to me, and other people don't give a shit. And I don't know what it is. I think a lot of it comes down to the original question of fairness or performance, right? And like, sort of, are you bringing them into this world? Like, are you using the effect itself to be more impossible, in quotes? Are you using the presentation to make it more impossible and meaningful? Like, there's so many variables that I don't know even where to begin to be like, in the apples to oranges argument of like what.
Yeah, me neither. It's hard for me to imagine a good argument as to why a transposition is more impossible than a vanish.
Yeah.
Like, I think bringing something back, like, I could see that discussion, but maybe we're not talking about vanish. We're talking about like penetration. Yeah. We're talking about like, and I don't have a good answer as to what would be more impossible. I think
that's why we both ended up in for a long time, me and you wanted to be the best. And I don't mean like we were very cocky and egotistical and competitive. What I mean is like we legitimately wanted to do the best magic we could. Right?
Even still. But I mean, like, it was less so about, I feel like we're doing a lot more of like, our reasoning for doing what we're doing has changed. We're doing a lot of like, find who you are in magic and like build you know what I mean? Like, we're doing very personalized and a lot of stuff we talk about on the podcast. Versus just like next best thing. I want to be Ozzy Wind. I want to be this person. I want to be that person. Was why these questions came about for me, is because I would do a trick and then I would like look at how people reacted, and sometimes they would react in a way that made me feel like, what am I doing magic for? And even though like they reacted in a way that clearly means they were fooled, I was like, maybe people aren't impressed when they name a card and they name a number and it's there. Or if they are impressed, maybe it's not memorable, or maybe it doesn't produce an emotion that they would like to keep.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it produces, right? Like maybe it just produces a feeling of
uneasiness.
Yeah.
Like, oh, witches are real. Okay. Like,
exactly.
Whatever it is.
So that's really.
So that's why I think we ended up where we are, is that the answer is like an engineer might find your no presentation more exciting than a psychic
Philosopher,
or whatever.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like someone who wants to see more of the presentation. And same for mentalism, same for coins, same for whatever. I think a lot of magicians gravitate towards the magic that they do because they find it so impossible. So when you see a coin magician and he badly fools you, you'll probably want to do coin magic. Even though you see other people reacting stronger to card magic,
which is
you want to do what you want to do.
The struggle of the like magic trailers and stuff that suckers you in to buy something, and then you're like, oh, it's not real. Like, duh.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
But like that feeling is almost still a disappointment. Like, I don't really mean that, but it's still like you get the effect and you're like, oh, this is how it, like, as if they were going to be like, it's magic powder. Oh, yeah.
I just want to say I'm sure this has happened many times before, but it was one of the first times I actually noticed it. I just want to give a big up to Sandsmines Magic. I've had my qualms with them in the past, but they recently put out a trailer for a device, the PK ring thing, and they just show you the gimmick. They just tell you, and they're just like, this is what it is. It costs $50. Please buy it. And I was like, this is incredible. Thank you. Now I know. Like,
I loved it. I loved it.
I was so happy.
Okay, next question is a banger as well.
All right.
Does the audience's prediction of the magical result... Oh, wait, what did I do? Okay, sorry, I'll say it again. Does the audience's prediction of the magical result before Does the audience's prediction of the magical result before verifying it strengthen an effect or weaken an effect? Is surprising them a good idea?
Right, so this is sort of like, are kickers good? Are they just a haha got you? Does building the tension in their own mind before they turn the card over themselves make it more magical?
Right.
There's a big question. It's a big question.
Do you want them to know where it's going, or do you want them to? So one second. I want to make a separation here, because I believe that surprise endings that come out of nowhere is not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I wanted to make a discerning.
If you're like, watch the cards. Did you notice the coin in your pocket?
Right. I that's not what I'm talking about. And the reason I say it is I think that I have learned that I do not like that.
Yeah.
Like
that's really getting suckered. Right. That's literally look over here while I do something else. Right.
Yeah. So I really do not like that. So really, I'm talking about either either when they reveal what the ending is, it all makes sense then, or it all makes sense sometime before the magical ending, and that they are either burning you to make sure it doesn't happen, or they are waiting for
sort of
it
like
to happen.
They sort of know, like, you've showed them the map, and now you're taking them on the trail, and it's like, are you going to end up at the destination they're expecting, or do you get there and like it's a somersault jump, flip on your head, what's happening? Oh, okay, this makes sense. There has to be, I think, that afterthought moment of like, that's not what I was expecting, but totally fitting to everything that went on.
You think that's better?
I think that's... I don't know. Sorry, I don't know that that's better. I'm saying if you're going to do a surprise ending, that should be a component of it. It shouldn't just be random.
No,
and we both agree.
Sorry, you're saying that the component is that the ending still makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, so I agree with that.
Yeah.
So in the realm of an ending that makes sense, it sort of wraps up the trick nicely and correctly and things of that nature.
Yeah. So
do we want them to know it's coming? Like, tick, tick, or do we want a boom and then
I always compare magic to movies, and I think
it's the perfect example for this.
Exactly. So there's plenty of movies where at the end I went, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck did I watch that for? And that's the twist ending in magic.
Yeah.
Right? And you'll hear people say that a lot.
Yeah. It was a dream?
Great. Yeah, exactly. It was a dream. What the fuck was I watching? And this is the movie I thought would be a good example. Have you seen Gone Girl?
No.
Okay. Well, I won't tell you what happens, but I hated that movie. Hated it until the last 10 minutes. Literally, I was watching this going like, I know, this is beautifully shot. The acting's great. But like, I know what's happening. I see the next thing. Okay, this is like, none of it was grabbing me. I was never like, oh my God. And then everything ties up right at the end in the exact way you'd expect. And I was like, how did this win Oscars? Like, what? I don't know if it did, but how does it get nominated? Like, what's going on? And then something totally perfect and totally unexpected, and if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about, happens. And I'll just say it's not what happens between the characters, it's one of the characters' responses to the situation that you just did not see coming, and then everything just hits you. And it's literally like a cool, fun, whatever movie until the last 10 minutes when you're just like shook to your core of like what actually just happened, you know?
Another example for me is, did you watch The Good Place?
No, I haven't seen it.
Amazing. Really, really good. But when you watch the show, you're like, wow, this is a really funny show. Da, 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 da. And then as soon as it ends, you're like, oh, how did I not see that the whole time? The first season I'm talking about. But you're like, how did I not see that the whole time? That's so clever. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. What a beautiful ending, you know? And like, to me, I don't know. I don't know
it's
what's
like the aha moment happens before the 10-minute wrap up, or the aha moment happens and then you're hit in the face with credits. You know what I mean? Like, that's sort of how I think about it when there's like a Christopher Nolan twist at the end of a movie.
No, but I think that they could be without an aha moment in the sense of you know what the ending is. I mean, for movies, they rarely do that, but in magic tricks, they do.
Like what?
Like, I guess there's worlds where they don't, but
like,
I mean, do any card. I love using that example, but they know exactly what's going to happen from the get.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
like
no,
when
for
I
sure.
do,
but I'm thinking like, but there's
in
still
a piece of mentalism, they know what's going to happen from the get.
Yeah,
Think of a word, I'll tell you what it is. You know?
Yeah.
Put the coin in your hand, I'll tell you what hand the coin is in. So like that, there's no crazy. That makes sense now. You know, like so there it happens in magic, but also things happen where like twisting the aces, like nothing out of. They don't change into kings, you know. They don't, and even that doesn't make sense, right? Like,
right, yeah.
So it happens in magic, doesn't happen as much in movies. I mean, in like, it happens in like certain shows where it's episodic, like Law and Order. You know, like it's the same thing. It's the same thing every.
But
episode.
a lot of movies do like here's the end of the movie, 10 days earlier. Right? Or they'll do like Memento progresses. It starts at the end of the movie and works its way backwards to the beginning of the story, progressing through flashbacks. Like that. Like
I like the example of here's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And then going
and it's not how you thought they got there.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's still a story, right? Or it's such a ridiculous thing that they show you at the end and you're like, how the hell did they end up with an octopus on their head in the middle of the whatever?
Exactly.
With the, you know?
So any thoughts on in magic, why one and not the other? Is one stronger?
I think, again, it's subjective, and I don't mean performer to performer. I mean effect to effect. I think sometimes you want them to really follow along and have it just be, super impossible, and they know, and they're saying to themselves, no, that can't be there, but it must be. No, it can't be there, but it must be. No, it can't be there. Oh my God, there it is. And once they've already done that for themselves, that's a very magical moment. And then they'll probably be doing it again, be like, and it's there, and it's there. And then if something different happens that also makes sense, it's another hit on the head, right? Like you can use them together. You don't have to think of them as one or the other. They can go in junction with each other.
I would say for me, my favorite thing in magic is the expression of no way, and that takes place when they do not know, when they complete the story in their head moments before you reveal that that's exactly what the case is. And to me, that is, or for me at least, that's the most powerful. I love, my favorite tricks are when people are like, no way that that's about to happen. I told the story of Garrett Thomas when I had my finger on the thing. Me, and I'm just like, I'm about to look back at my hand. And if this is the situation that you say it is, that's insane, And I'm a big fan of the no way. I think there's a place for the surprise and fitting ending, where you're like, like you didn't see it coming, but now it makes sense. But I think personally, I'm a big, huge fan of the no way. I'm a big, huge fan of playing with, like, one of the most fun I have when I'm performing is playing with the tension in the moment before I reveal the thing. You know, like slowly almost revealing a thing. And like, to me, that is, that's one of the most powerful things. So I like that, but I do both. I'm open to both. Okay, and this is the last question in these age-old questions. And this is, what is the claim of the magician?
Okay. You can elaborate if you want.
What is the claim of the magician? Yeah, I will. I always elaborate. What is the claim of the magician? So are we claiming to have powers? Are we claiming to fool you bad? Are we claiming to have knowledge that you don't have? Are we claiming to... What are we claiming?
Right.
And it ties into, it ties into really what we were talking about last month when we were saying, like, the magician steps out on that stage. Does everyone know that he's the guy pulling all the strings? Always, no questions, right? Like, that's the lens in which this was through. Is like, when you stand on that stage, what are you claiming?
Right. And I think this is more, what should the claim be? Because we know what the claims are. Some of them are, I'm an illusionist. Some of them are, I do real magic. Some of them are,
I actually don't know that I know what certain claims are. You know, like an escape artist. Like, I don't know what their claim is.
Right. Some people... I feel like a lot of escape artists are like, they're like, oh, I trained my body to like do certain things in high keys places, and then they go through walls. And
you're like, I don't understand. Yeah. Or like certain mentalists are unclear about whether it's real or whether it's not real. You know? So
I think right, and I think that's like the lack of a claim is also kind of a claim. Like, they want to leave it open, right? Like that was what Bobby Motta said in his episode, was like, they're gonna believe what they're gonna fucking believe. Right, I don't need to make much of a claim. There is a disclaimer in his show, but he straight up said,
value.
Yeah, like Damien Aditya does crazy escapes that are part escape acts, part magic sometimes, like all these things. And like, I think he wants to just be entertaining. He's not really claiming much. All he's claiming is that he's going to risk his life, which he is, because he's a madman. But you know, I think he wants you to question when you're like, how's he going to get out? How's he going to get out? And then something magic happens and he teleports. It's kind of like, wait, what is this guy doing? What is actually happening with this person? He just wants you to think, right? I don't know that there is necessarily always a claim being made. But if you're going to, like, I think the claim being made will always be what the effect is. It's just whether or not you want them to believe that you, like, what tools you're using to do it, right? So if you're using sleight of hand to do the effect, or if you're using psychic powers, or, you know, whatever, like magic with a K. And again, I think it really varies. Like, when I perform, I very wholeheartedly say that magic isn't real the entire time. It's my go-to joke. I do a lot of, wouldn't it be impossible if, but of course that didn't happen. Magic's not real. I thought we'd been through this. Like, I do a lot of that, you know? And, really, I just say I do card tricks. When people ask me what I do, I'm like, I shuffle cards. But
like, what does that mean? And I only go one level deep.
I want to leave it ambiguous for them. They're like, you know, like I know personally that I do sleight of hand and I use psychology and illusion to get people to believe certain things. You know, like I do a lot of misdirection and a lot of like, I'll put my hand over here and blah 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 blah, conditioning, all these things. Like it's magic. I'm claiming to deceive you, I guess. I want you to know that what I'm doing is a trick, and you're not going to know how it works, hopefully. And that's that. There are secrets in magic. Everyone knows there's secrets in magic. I don't feel like I need to have an answer for them if they're like, no, but really, I don't need to be like, well, if you come on the Thursday of a blood moon, I can share my blah, 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 blah. I just say, look, you were fooled. Like, I don't say that out to their face.
But that's the feeling.
But that's the feeling. I'm like, you were fooled, and that's what I set out to do. So that's that. What about you? What do you think you're claiming? Because lately you've been on the magic in their hands thing, but are you really trying to convince them of that? Are you trying to like drive that claim home that they're doing it?
I mean, I don't want to get like, this is going to get crazy, like, I don't want to say deep, but like
Ethical,
multiple, no, but multiple levels of thought here. So I want them, and I'm going to dip a little bit out of the topic just so that I can hammer home what I'm trying to do, but I want them to know that I want it to feel real, but I want them to know that it's not real based on the premise of what the thing is. So right now I am doing a trick that I've implemented in my show, which I've done in some professional shows I'm really excited about, where one spectator reads another spectator's mind because she drank a potion. And it's perfect. I'm not saying the trick is perfect, but I'm saying the presentation and the feeling is perfect, and I'll tell you why. Everyone knows the potion isn't real. I didn't even realize how much everyone would know. Like when I started using a potion on stage, I thought that people wouldn't drink the potion. Everyone drinks the potion. I've used a potion like 20 times on stage. Everyone drinks the potion. No one hesitates drinking the potion.
Right.
And to me, that's what I want. I know this isn't real, but I'm playing into it. I tell them an incredible story about how the potion came to be. They drink the goddamn potion.
Right. But here's my little question to you. Your claim is that potion's real.
Yes.
But that's not your claim. Like that's really
that's
not
what I'm trying to say, right?
So what are you, like, put it in a sentence other than describing what happens in one of your tricks. Right? Like that's what I was struggling to do.
What I'm claiming is that it is. I mean, I don't want to say the claim, but really, what I'm claiming is that it's not real, but I'm claiming it through not the direction of saying that it's not real, but the direction of premises that are so fun and not believable, so silly in nature that they understand that it's not real. The same way that, like, one of my favorite things outside of magic, in this world, that's a type of joke sort of that I think is so funny, is when you explain a property of the world through something that's not true. I'll give you a stupid example. In Judah, I don't remember his name. He's in 30 Rock. He has a stand-up special right now on Netflix.
Judd Apatow? No,
he's got really bushy hair. He's in 30 Rock.
Oh, I don't know.
It'll come to me. But anyways, he says this. He says, like, the U.S. has, like, so many tens of thousands of gun deaths a year. He's like, how many does the U.K. have? Like, 800? He's like, yeah, do you know why? We have better aim. And that, I mean, it's an okay joke, but the idea of explaining a premise through something that is obviously not real,
right,
to me is a really interesting type of comedy. I think it's so funny, like, in general, when people do that. Like, they do it about the world in so many ways. That's the only one that comes to mind right now. But, like,
yeah. There's a lot of that happening in these, like, late night talk shows.
Yeah, like, fake explanations about things. And, like, I love that. So it's a blatant fake explanation. It's an experience.
But that's also still not really making a claim.
Right. Well, so
you are claiming something that isn't true and that's known, right? But you're not claiming something that is true. You're not, you know what I mean? Like, you're not telling them it's a card trick, right?
Right.
You're never saying.
And that's one of the things that highlights.
I guess it's an implied claim. Like,
but it's not even, because I'm not even claiming anything, right?
Well,
like,
you're claiming that you have a magic potion, which is implying that that's not true.
Intentionally not real.
All right, so all you're really telling them is that it's not a potion. You're eliminating just potion and leaving everything else. But I'm not even doing it by saying it. No, I understand that.
Right? You're
highlighting the ridiculousness of it, which is therefore, like, Xing it out.
Showing
it's not a potion. It's not.
But don't think of it as not a potion. Think of it as, like, not real magic. That's really the, like.
But I don't know that it does that. They know it's no potion, They don't know nothing else. They're not like, okay, it must have been sleight of hand if it wasn't a potion.
Maybe you're right. But at the very least, we are not at odds.
No.
Me and them.
No, you're both on the same page. That they don't know what you're doing, but they don't care. They're focused on your potion story.
Bingo. Right? We are not at odds with my claim. They are not saying to themselves, but did he really read my body language? We are not at odds about it. Instead, we both know that it's not
but they also
potion,
have nothing.
but it's about the potion. Right.
They also have
I give them
zero.
Nothing outside of the ridiculous claim. And what I was just trying to say is that this fact that I'm not claiming anything really shows how my thinking has developed from 5 or so years ago when I've written this down, which is I was very much struggling with, if I'm on stage telling people that I'm doing impossible things, what does that mean? Does it mean that I want them to believe it? Does it mean, am I trying to get them to believe it? I want to believe that I know stuff they don't know? Do I want them to? And now, I've come to the understanding that I do not want to claim something real, but I've found a way to claim something sillily.
Right.
And what that does. Or rather, I found a way to show that something isn't real without saying it, because it allows us to live in that charmed fantasy world together. So it really has showed the way that I've developed a little bit, Yeah. And I think that's really cool. With that, do we want to lock away some questions in the lockbox to open in 5 years or something crazy?
Wow.
Actually, you know what? I totally take that back, because I was going to say to catalog where we are in our magic right now, but we have a way to catalog where we are in our magic right now. We release a podcast every single week for the last year and a half.
We should write down what we said in this episode.
Oh, right. That's okay. We recorded it. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, sweet.
So yeah, anything else before we wrap up this episode?
Send us your questions again. We want to answer.
Yeah, send us your questions for the beginning of
hashtag discourse at 10,000.
No, I'm not even going to use that. But straight up, do know that I'm going to be doing my best for us to reach 10,000 as humanly fast as humanly possible.
As humanly fast,
because that's what we want. And now we got to get the email subscribers to catch up. We gave our personal magic New Year's resolutions, but do we have podcast resolutions? No. But about our podcast,
for discourse, for the people to do
for discourse. What are we resoluting? I mean, for ourselves to do with the podcast.
No, I can't think of anything right now. I haven't really thought about it. What about you?
I will say that I want to release more products. I know that's so crazy, because it's like, my resolution is for you to give me money, but I don't mean it like that. I really mean that I think that releasing products makes sure that it's a piece of quality that I'm putting my name on. It's the next level. Anybody can release free content. Anybody can, start a vlog. Anybody can start a vlog, and we've been podcasting for a very long time. I've learned a lot in these years. I've learned a lot personally as a magician. Mm-hmm. We beta under the radar within the people on our list released a product, which the actual thing is starting
join our emails
today. But yeah, so join our emails if you want to be part of beta product releases. But I will say that I hope to release more products, whether there's a lot of people excited about shirts. So that would be an option, whether it's more information.
I want my own travel mugs.
So many people said they don't want mug, but I super want
Although
mugs. I want a mug, not a travel mug.
I know the idea. I just need a travel mug. So I'd rather eat my own. But I do get what you're saying. If we do, by the way, I want a wide, hardy mug.
I don't want those thin little.
No, fuck that. I would love to be the podcast that every guest gets a mug. You know what I mean? How podcasts do that all the time. But
it's over Skype.
It's over Skype, so it doesn't make any fucking sense. And because we're magic, I feel like we need to, 2 years from now, just release a deck or something and just hand those out.
It's an option. I'm not particularly moved by the idea of releasing a deck. yet.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Years down the line. I have no interest in card design or it's such a
maybe there's a world one time where I would want to do it, but like as you'll see in an episode that's coming out soon, I believe most of the perfect decks are already released.
Yeah.
I know that's so silly to say, but like I think the perfect deck has already been released. Yeah. So it would solely be for its own existence. So yeah. You can look forward to some products from Discourse and Magic. There are some really interesting things in the work, and only bigger and better guests, although that kind of sounds negative to the guests that we have had, but just more awesome guests, continued characters, and a lot of you have been reaching out, telling me who you'd love to have on the podcast, which has been very, very helpful. And without further ado, other than that, thank you guys so much.
Thank you for an awesome 2017.
Awesome 2017, the first full calendar year where Discourse and Magic has run. Most podcasts die before the 1 year mark. This has been nearly 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years in May.
It will be soon. Yeah, that's exactly right. On May 1st or April 30th is 2 years. And on March...
Oh, wait, no. Yeah.
And March, I believe it's March 1st or the first episode in March marks 100 episodes. What should we do for that?
Greatest. I don't know. We'll do something cool.
I have some idea.
We'll do something cool. We'll jam out.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next Thursday.